After evening self-study, I hurried back home. The front door was splashed with glaring red paint, spelling out large characters, "Pretty boy, seducing someone else's wife." The entrance was also piled high with foul-smelling garbage. What on earth is going on? Suddenly, everything went black as a sack was thrown over my head. Then I was punched and kicked, pain surging through my body. Enduring the pain, I forcefully removed the sack. In front of me stood a middle-aged man, looking almost 50. Where did this big fool come from?
Who are you?
Humph. You seduced my wife, and you still have the nerve to ask who I am?
He pointed a stick at me.
Living in such a nice house, you must be a pretty boy. Isn't it my wife who gave it to you?
Maintaining my composure as a teacher, I patiently asked him.
Do you have the wrong person?
Heh, I could never forget your face. My wife's phone is full of your photos. Now tell me, what's your relationship with Emily Smith?
I racked my brain to recall who Emily Smith was. Finally, I found her in a nearly forgotten corner of my memory. Emily Smith was the parent of a student who graduated last year. She used to come to school under the pretense of her child. She would even send suggestive messages and selfies late at night. I had firmly rejected her, but Emily Smith only became more aggressive. To avoid affecting her child's college entrance exams, I didn't make a fuss about it until the exams were over, then I deleted her contact. I didn't expect her to come back now.
I have nothing to do with Emily Smith anymore. Go home and ask your wife yourself.
I didn't want to argue with him, just wanted to go to the hospital to check my injuries. He wouldn't let me leave.
No relation? Her notes are full of you? Her album is full of your photos? She even sends you those kinds of pictures.
He was getting agitated, spitting as he spoke.
You really are a pretty boy with some good looks. Let's see how you seduce people without that face.
Saying this, he swung the stick towards my face. Luckily, I reacted quickly and dodged, but unfortunately, the stick hit the back of my head. Stars filled my vision, and I was knocked out. Fortunately, I had just used my phone to send an emergency alert. The police should be arriving soon. When I woke up again, I was already at the police station. My head was bandaged. The police had found me unconscious on the ground, immediately checked the property surveillance, and arrested that crazy man. Seeing the police, the man didn't dare to act out, looking much more subdued.
Officer, I can explain the situation. This man attacked me and splashed paint on my house. The surveillance footage should confirm it.
The police reviewed the footage, which clearly showed the man attacking and splashing paint. I underwent a full-body checkup, and fortunately, I only had a mild concussion. The man, realizing he was fully responsible, started shouting.
This pretty boy is a homewrecker. That house was bought by my wife. What's wrong with me splashing paint? He seduced someone else's wife. What's wrong with me hitting him a few times?
The police took me to the interrogation room, where I sat face to face with him. Seeing me, he started glaring and puffing up again. I looked at him coldly.
You say I seduced your wife? Where's the evidence?
Your name is John Carter, right? My wife's phone is full of your pictures, love letters to you, and her photo album is all about you. I saw her chat records. She even sent you those kinds of pictures. If you're not her pretty boy, then what are you?
I'm single, and that house was bought by my parents. I can show you the purchase records.
Ha! Your parents bought it? Where's the proof? Just because you say your parents bought it doesn't make it true.
Fine, bring your wife here, and we'll confront each other face to face.
You think you can just summon her? Who do you think you are? My wife has her own things to do. Who do you think you are?
Are you crazy? You accuse me of seducing your wife, but you won't even ask her yourself.
My wife was the most beautiful woman in our village when she was young. It's normal for you to seduce her. She's so rich, and for a wealthy woman like her, a pretty boy like you would naturally come sniffing around.
I couldn't stand this arrogant fool any longer.
Screw you! What kind of idiot are you? You beat me up for no reason. You falsely accused me of seducing your wife. Your wife is only a treasure to you. You really think you're something special, huh? I'm so unlucky to be involved in this mess. You threw paint at my house and even hit me. It's all on surveillance. Don't think you can deny it. My medical expenses and emotional distress compensation total $10,000. If you don't pay me within 3 days, I'll sue you until you're bankrupt.
The police saw how agitated I was and tried to calm things down, but seeing my bandaged head and bruised face, they ultimately said nothing. I provided my medical report and the purchase records from my parents. Additionally, his actions warranted a 15-day detention. Back home, I immediately searched for Emily Smith on my phone. She was already on my blacklist. I unblocked her, intending to ask what was going on. As soon as I did, a flood of messages came through.
John Carter, how are you? I'm sorry, I didn't know he would be so extreme and hit you. It's all my fault for not protecting our love.
Ugh. What nonsense, love, it's all in your head.
John Carter, please respond. I'm really worried about you. Let me take care of you. I'll make you soup to help you recover.
I sent her my hospital proof and the police's compensation document.
No need. Your husband is now in the police station. Just transfer the compensation to me.
Then I blocked her again. I rested at home for a while. In the evening, a colleague from school sent me a link. When I opened it, it was surveillance footage of me being attacked and having paint thrown on me. The title read, "Wife Beats Up Male Homewrecker, Who Turns Out to Be a City High School Math Teacher." In the video, I was being beaten while covered in a sack, looking very pathetic. The comments were all cheering.
A teacher seducing someone's wife? Serves him right.
Homewreckers should all be punished, regardless of gender.
No wonder he lives in such a fancy neighborhood. A teacher's salary can't afford that. It must be from the wife.
The comments were full of insults, and the man probably even hired people to spread the video, which had a high view count. Principal Thompson asked if I needed help to clarify things.
John, do you need any assistance to clear this up?
No, Principal Thompson. I promise I'll resolve this quickly and not let it affect the school or the students.
Playing this game with me? Let's see how long you can keep this up before it backfires.
We checked the property surveillance and arrested that man. He didn't dare act out when he saw us.
I explained the situation to the police, and the footage showed him attacking and splashing paint.
This young man is a troublemaker. That house was bought by my wife. What's wrong with me splashing paint? He lured someone else's wife. What's wrong with me hitting him a few times?
When I woke up again, I was already at the police station. My head was bandaged. The police had found me unconscious on the ground, immediately checked the property surveillance, and arrested that crazy man. Seeing the police, the man didn't dare to act out, looking much more subdued.
Can you explain what happened?
Yes, officer. The surveillance footage will show everything. He attacked me and splashed paint all over the property.
I underwent a full-body checkup, and fortunately, I only had a mild concussion. The man, realizing he was fully responsible, started shouting.
This pretty boy is a homewrecker. That house was bought by my wife. What's wrong with me splashing paint? He seduced someone else's wife. What's wrong with me hitting him a few times?
When I woke up again, I was already at the police station. My head was bandaged. The police had found me unconscious on the ground, immediately checked the property surveillance, and arrested that crazy man.
We got him now. He didn't dare to act out when he saw us, and looked much more subdued.
I explained the situation to the police, and the surveillance footage clearly showed the man attacking and splashing paint. I underwent a full-body checkup, and fortunately, I only had a mild concussion.
This pretty boy is a homewrecker. That house was bought by my wife. What's wrong with me splashing paint? He seduced someone else's wife. What's wrong with me hitting him a few times?
Fortunately, I had just used my phone to send an emergency alert. The police should be arriving soon.
When I woke up again, I was already at the police station. My head was bandaged.
The police had found me unconscious on the ground, immediately checked the property surveillance, and arrested that crazy man.
Seeing the police, the man didn't dare to act out, looking much more subdued.
I explained the situation to the police. The surveillance footage clearly showed the man attacking and splashing paint.
I underwent a full-body checkup, and fortunately, I only had a mild concussion.
This pretty boy is a homewrecker. That house was bought by my wife. What's wrong with me splashing paint? He seduced someone else's wife. What's wrong with me hitting him a few times?
John's live stream caused a huge uproar online. Many parents of his students came forward to support him, proving he was a good teacher. Public opinion quickly shifted in his favor. Emily Smith and her husband faced backlash. Their home was vandalized, and their private information was exposed. People even held banners demanding justice for John. Despite everything, Emily continued to harass John. She came to his apartment building, begging for forgiveness.
John Carter, please see me. I really love you. I'll divorce him and marry you.
John was disgusted. He posted an update with Emily's photo outside his home.
Please leave me alone.
A group of netizens quickly came to John's aid, surrounding and scolding Emily. Some even got physical. Concerned, John went downstairs to stop the aggressive crowd. Emily, looking pitiful with bruises, struggled to get up.
John Carter, I don't blame you. You can punish me however you want. John Carter, no one in this world loves you more than I do.
John regretted coming down. He pleaded with her to leave him alone.
I don't want anything to do with you. Take care of yourself. If you keep stalking me, I'll call the police.
Emily lunged at John with a small knife.
John Carter, how can you do this? Can't you see my true feelings for you?
John elbowed Emily, causing the knife to fly out. He pinned her to the ground.
Did you let your husband do this? Did you plan it?
Emily, deranged, smiled twistedly at John.
John Carter, I love you. I love you the most. But you're too perfect. You can't even see me. If you weren't so perfect, if the whole world despised you, only then would you belong to me. You're too perfect. I want you to be mine alone.
John called the police immediately. The police handled the aftermath. However, since Emily Smith's injuries were quite severe, she was taken to the hospital for treatment. Her husband stayed at the hospital to take care of her.
Honey, was it John Carter who did this? Why do you like him so much?
Emily Smith said nothing, perhaps unable to speak, and just held her husband's hand. Her husband felt even more heartbroken.
Honey, I know it was that pretty boy who seduced you. I don't blame you anymore. I will seek justice for you. Once you recover, we'll go find that scoundrel together.
Emily Smith immediately started sobbing, tears and snot flowing together. Her husband thought this meant she agreed with his plan. A flash of vengeance appeared in his eyes, determined to make my life miserable. One day after work, I returned home to find a group of people surrounding my car. I knew this was the man bringing people to cause trouble. A group of men with sticks began smashing my car, threatening me to come out.
Get that little punk out here. Do whatever you want with him. I want him to suffer.
The group of foul-smelling men eagerly awaited their chance. But these fools didn't know my car windows were one way. They couldn't see inside, but I could see outside.
This pretty boy drives such a nice car. Who knows where he got it from? Probably has a bunch of sugar daddies. Tell him to get out.
Seeing no movement from me, they got anxious and started smashing my windows more furiously. I sneered at them, a bunch of rabble.
Stop pretending to be dead. Get out here. You had the guts to seduce someone else's wife, but now you're hiding like a coward.
The man got even more desperate when I didn't respond.
I don't believe it. Smash it harder.
The others followed his orders, hitting the car with more force. Soon, the glass couldn't withstand the blows and began to shatter. At that moment, a hand suddenly reached out from the car, grabbing the person smashing the window and pulling them forward forcefully, causing immediate injury. Then, 3 bodyguards emerged from the car. After the last incident, my parents had arranged for bodyguards to protect me. These bodyguards were highly trained professionals, and this group of thugs was no match for them. In no time, the gang scattered, leaving only Emily Smith's husband standing there. I signaled the bodyguards to teach him a lesson. But before a punch could land on him, he started begging for mercy.
Spare me, sir. Please don't hit me.
He was almost on his knees, pleading. At this point, I got out of the car, and the bodyguards respectfully made way for me. I looked at this middle-aged man begging for mercy. I had no personal grudge against him, yet he repeatedly tried to harm me. I couldn't imagine what would have happened if I hadn't had bodyguards protecting me today.
You dared to bring help.
You deserve this. It's all your own doing.
But it wasn't over yet. One day, I stormed into Emily Smith's house with a group of bodyguards.
Smash everything! I'll cover up all the damages.
As soon as the door opened, my bodyguards rushed in and started breaking things.
John Carter, I'm going to end you.
Of course, my bodyguards immediately restrained him and gave him a good beating. He was left holding his head, glaring at me.
Where's your beloved wife, Emily Smith? Where is she?
I signaled one of the bodyguards to find Emily Smith. She was hiding in the bedroom closet, trembling.
Wife. John Carter, what are you going to do to my wife? I'll end you.
The bodyguards held him down as I crouched in front of him.
You're being bullied like this, and your wife doesn't even care. She doesn't love you that much, does she?
I casually picked up a vase from the table and smashed it on the ground. The bodyguards brought Emily Smith over, and she knelt on the floor, shaking.
John Carter, I'm sorry. I really know I was wrong.
I signaled the bodyguards to search her and take her phone. Emily Smith was terrified and immediately started kowtowing to me.
John Carter, I won't dare anymore. It's all my fault. Please don't hurt me.
Emily Smith's house was in shambles. This couple was truly scared now, trembling in front of me, and her husband no longer dared to speak out.
They thought I was a pushover, but they were wrong. These delusional people needed to be taught a lesson.
The bodyguards handed me Emily Smith's phone. I casually flipped through it. Sure enough, there were various photos of me at school, from all angles. This creepy woman had been secretly taking pictures of me.
Mr. Carter. I was wrong. I apologize. We have nothing to do with each other. It was all my wishful thinking. Please, let me go.
I put the phone in an evidence bag, which would be used to file a lawsuit against Emily Smith. Emily Smith pulled her husband over, and they both knelt in front of me to apologize.
Mr. Carter, please be the bigger person and forgive us. We're begging you.
Wife, why are you apologizing to him? He doesn't deserve it. This time, it's my bad luck to have been caught by him.
He tried to stop Emily Smith from kowtowing to me. After all, Emily Smith was his goddess, and he couldn't allow his goddess to bow to anyone else. Suddenly, Emily Smith slapped him. It was so sudden that he didn't have time to dodge.
Shut up!
The man looked at Emily Smith with tears in his eyes, full of disbelief.
Wife, you actually hit me because of this pretty boy.
It's all because of you. If it weren't for you, Mr. Carter wouldn't be in this situation.
It's all your fault. Did I ask you to go find Mr. Carter?
He cried bitterly, unable to believe that Emily Smith would hit him.
Emily Smith. I'm your husband. For you, I gave up my previous family. I just wanted to be with you. You didn't want to have our child, so I immediately got a vasectomy. For so many years, I've done all the housework. Whatever you wanted to eat, I made it for you. I took care of you every day, even if you liked other men, I didn't care. And now you hit me because of this despicable man.
Emily Smith's husband didn't look good at all now. Emily Smith looked at him with disdain and disgust.
Look at you now. So fat. So greasy. You eat more than a pig every day, and you rely on me to support you. What's wrong with you doing some housework at home? You're just a parasite.
Every word from Emily Smith pierced her husband's heart. I couldn't be bothered to watch this despicable couple tear each other apart. I got what I wanted and left. Emily Smith still clung to my legs, begging for mercy.
Mr. Carter, please calm down. As long as you let me go, you can do whatever you want with this man.
Hopeless. I pulled away forcefully and went straight to court to file a lawsuit. I didn't want to let either of them off. With ample evidence, the two received the punishment they deserved, though I was fined for damaging Emily Smith's property. But I could afford that small amount of money. At least those two scumbags got what they deserved. The whole incident was documented and posted online, and netizens cheered for me. With the troublemakers out of my life, my wonderful life resumed.